Good afternoon, everybody. Very nice to see you all again at the second day of our webinar. As per yesterday, you see the instructions to interact with the panelists, but also with the other participants in the webinar projected on screen. Yesterday, it was about introducing the topic, so learning a bit how to analyze soils in laboratories, but also in relation to the use of the soil test kits. Unfortunately, yesterday we could not finish with the presentation on the soil test kits. So today we are giving 10 minutes to the Philippines to present about their soil test kits before getting into the panel discussions and the other sessions thought about guiding countries and partners on how to develop reliable soil test kits, how we can harmonize soil test kits in the region, but also we have some other nice interactive session for today. So now I would like to give the floor to Miss Shirley. Shirley Boudouin, I see that you are already connected. She is the section head of the Bureau of Soil and Water Management, and she will be presenting about the soil test kits developed by the Philippines. Ms. Boudouin, the floor is yours, and again, apologize for postponing your presentation to today.
Okay, thank you, Ma'am Lucrecia, and good day, good morning, and good afternoon to everyone. My name is Shirley Santos Boudouin, Senior Chemist of the Rapid Soil Test Section, Laboratory Services Division of the Bureau of Soils and Water Management. So it's an honor to present the Bureau of Soils and Water Management soil test kit for this Lab and Kits Insights on Soil Analysis. Okay, so my topic outline. I'm sorry, hindi ko kayo na-introduce. Ako, yes. For our topic outline, our first topic is advantages of using soil test kit. And next, what is soil test kit? And our third topic is the accomplishment, the production and distribution of our soil test kits. And last, our ways forward. STK targets. Okay, next, please. And now, let's go to our first topic, the advantages of using soil test kits. Our soil test kit provides rapid results, and it is easy to use and does not require specialized instrument or equipment. And our soil test kit is more affordable and cost-effective compared to sending of samples to a soil laboratory. And analysis can be performed on-site, eliminating the need to transport soil samples to a laboratory. So it's beneficial for remote or inaccessible locations. And our soil test kit is also very useful for fertilizer recommendation and real-time monitoring of soil quality over time. And our soil test kit is designed to be user-friendly and, of course, very portable. So what is our soil test kit? As you can see, our soil test kit is an affordable kit. So our soil test kit costs 1,500 pesos only, or equivalent to more or less around $27 US. So if we will compute the price per sample, the cost is around $1 only, which is very affordable. So our soil test kit is simple and low-cost testing kit that is used to analyze soil pH, organic matter, phosphorus, and potassium in soil. The result of our soil test kits are used in recommending the amount and kind of fertilizer needed by crops. One bag of STK can analyze up to 25 soil samples. So it has a shelf life of 6 months, 6 months to 1 year. And our soil test kit, the target beneficiaries are the soil laboratories, the agricultural extension workers, and our farmers. So what is inside our soil test kit? So our STK bag is a small bag weighing about 600 grams or less than 1 kilogram. So it contains the 10 chemical reagents for pH, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. So for soil pH, we have 3 reagents, which is the reagent for chlorophenol red, the bromocresol green, and the bromothymol blue. And we also have 1 reagent for nitrogen. And we also have 2 reagents for phosphorus, which we call it P and P1. And we also have 3 reagents for potassium. We call it K, K1, and K2. And 1 bottle of distilled water. Inside our test kit, we also have 5 test tubes, test tube holder, and we also have sticks and tin foil. So we use the stick for phosphorus to wrap firmly the tin foil. So this is used to steer the solution. And of course, we also have the booklet and chart. As you can see in the slides, our soil test kit is a very colorful. We have a very colorful instruction booklet. So inside our booklet is the step-by-step procedure for the analysis of soil pH, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. It also includes a color chart for comparison of resulting solution. So the color produced are then matched with the standard color in the chart. So that is our STK instruction booklet. And another paraphernalia inside our STK bag is the soil analysis and fertilizer usage booklet. So this booklet gives a brief description of the soil test kit and its uses. Our booklet includes notes on proper handling and storage of STK. It includes also reminders on the use and care of the soil test kit. And our booklet also includes instruction on proper soil sampling and includes also fertilizer recommendation for various crops. So as you can see in our slides, we also, in our booklet, we also have our booklet contains 167 various crops as a guide for fertilizer recommendations. So what is the use of our soil test kit? So this is again the picture of our soil test kit. Our soil test kit can analyze soil pH, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Okay, this time let's start to discuss the step in analyzing these 4 parameters. And let's start analyzing the soil pH. So in analyzing soil pH, the first reagent to use is the reagent chlorophenol red, or the CPR. The CPR is used as confirmatory when to use the bromocresol green and bromothymol blue reagent. So let's start analyzing So first, fill the test tube with salt sample up to the first scratch mark. So the sample that we use for all the determination is around 0.5 grams. And our test tubes has a scratch mark for a faster filling of samples and reagents. So let's continue. So upon filling samples to our test tube, we need to add 1 ml or fill the test tube with solution CPR or chlorophenol red indicator dye up to the second scratch mark. And then mix by gently swirling the test tube 20 times. Repeat after about 2 minutes. And then after 5 minutes, so let the test tube stand for 5 minutes. And to get the pH of the soil, we need to incline the test tube with the resulting solution and match the color of the CPR indicator. So record the pH reading. So we have a reminder in using our reagent CPR, BTD, and BCG. So if our salt pH is greater than or equal to 5.8, we need to use BTB or bromothymol blue instead of chlorophenol red. However, if our soil pH is less than or equal to 5.4, we need to use the BCG or the bromocresol green instead of CPR. And then repeat the previous steps. If there is no color match on BTD or BCG, refer to the CPR result for the final reading. Okay, since our sample reading fall to pH 6, as you can see it in the slides, this time we use the BTB solution or the BTB reagent. So by using the same steps, so this time by using the BTB solution, so the reading of our sample falls to pH 7.6. Okay, this time, if the pH of our sample is equal to 5.4, then we need to use the bromocresol green reagent. So as you can see in the slides, based from the picture, the color of our sample falls to 4.8 using the bromocresol green reagent. Okay, so here are the salt pH classification that we have in our salt test kits. For less than 4.4, we call this extremely acidic. And for pH 4.5 to 5.5, so we classify it as strongly acidic. And for the pH 5.6 to 6, it's moderately acidic. And for pH 6.1 to 6.6, slightly acidic. And for pH 6.7 and 7.2, it's near neutral. And for pH 7.8 to 7.8, slightly alkaline. And 7.9 to 8.4, moderately alkaline. And 8.5 to 9, strongly alkaline. And greater than 9, extremely alkaline. So those are the salt pH classification of our salt test kits. Okay,
Ms. Shirley, I'm sorry, can you please head to the end of your presentation or try to get to the end, please?
10 minutes lang kasi.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks, sorry.
Yes. Okay, this time, let's go to the determination of nitrogen.
Wait lang.
Okay, fill the test tube with cell sample up to the first scratch mark, and then add 1 ml or fill in the test tube with the solution nitrogen or N up to the second scratch mark. Mix well by gently swirling the test tube 30 times, and then repeat after about 5 minutes. Let the test tube stand for 30 minutes. And then incline the test tube with the resulting solution and match the color in the chart. and then record the pH reading. So our sample matches the medium chart with nitrogen ranges from 2.1 to 3.5%. Okay, for the next determination is the phosphorus. For the phosphorus determination, first fill the test tube with the soil sample up to the first scratch mark. And then add 1 ml or fill the test tube with solution P or to the second scratch mark and add 4 drops of solution P1. And then mix well by gently swirling the tube for about 1 minute. Repeat after about 3 minutes. Then let stand for 5 minutes. And then take one foil or thin strip and wrap it firmly at one end of the plastic stick. So without disturbing the soil, stir the solution slowly with a thin strip for 1 minute. And then repeat this after about 2 minutes. So after 2 minutes, match the blue color intensity of the solution with the color chart and then record the reading. Okay, and now let's go to the determination of potassium. So fill the test tube with soil sample up to the first scratch mark and then add 1 ml or fill the test tube with solution K up to the second scratch mark and add 8 drops of solution K1. Mix well by gently swirling the tube for about 1 minute. Repeat after about 3 minutes and let the test tube stand for 5 minutes. And then incline the test tube and slowly add 12 drops of solution K2. K2 is, this is the alcohol. And then 1 drop at a time and do not mix the solution. Then let the test tube stand for 2 minutes. So the level of sufficiency can be determined based on the thickness of cloudy yellowish layer as shown in the picture. So we're done with our determination of our different parameters of our soil test kit. So this time we're going to give you or to discuss with you our soil test kit methods. For our STK parameters, for soil pH, for our STK method, we use pH indicators of chlorophenol red, bromocrystal green, and bromothymol blue. And for nitrogen, we use them, our method is based on Walkley and Black, the colorimetric method. And for the phosphorus, for our STK method is based on Bray-1 method. And for our potassium, we use the our method is based on the formation of potassium cobaltinitrate or cobaltinitride. Okay, so what are the utilization of our STK data? Under the soil health assessment, the National Soil Sampling and Testing Project, this was held last 2016 to 2021. So through the use of consolidated soil test kit data, the following outputs were accomplished. So we were able to produce provincial fertility maps for rice. So we were able to produce fertility maps to 81 provinces and fertility maps for corn to 23 provinces. And we also able to produce fertilizer guide for rice and corn. And also nutrient level and fertilizer guide tables. So under this project, the Soil Health Assessment National Soil Sampling and Testing Program, we were able to use 8,767 STK, or these were produced and distributed all over the Philippines. Okay, next please. For our accomplishments, for the production and distribution of our soil test kits, so starting from 2021 to present, the Bureau of Soils and Water Management, under the Laboratory Services Division, has already distributed 1,853 soil test kits to 21 provinces, which comprises of 293 municipalities. And for this year, for 2023, we were able to train 377 participants from different regions and benefited from these trainings. Okay. And another ways forward for our STK targets is the Bureau of Soils and Water Management Laboratory Services Division also aims to establish community soil health clinics around the Philippines with 143 interested partners. And by 2024 to 2025, with the collaboration of our 16 regional soil laboratories of the Department of Agriculture, the BSWM Laboratory Services Division aims to distribute 5,614 STK to 85 provinces. And also another ways forward is the harmonization of soil test kit methods throughout SILNET, GLOSAL, and member laboratories, and a further enhancement of existing STK for the analysis of phosphorus and potassium.
Ms. Shirley, I'm very sorry, but can you please get to the conclusions?
Yes, ma'am. We're done, ma'am. So,
I'm sorry.
so that's all. So as you can see in our pictures, so these are the pictures we have during the conduct of trainings we had.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And again, I'm very, very sorry to cut your time.
Yes, we're
It
done,
was
ma'am.
It was a very good presentation. As usual, I kindly invite all participants to ask their question through the question and answer box. And I kindly ask Ms. Shirley or her staff to please answer them. Because I'm asking also for the support of your staff, because you are a member of the panel that we kick off the discussion on the harmonization of the regional soil test kits. And to kick off the discussion, we have a poll that I'm about to launch with the following question. Can soil test kits be harmonized at the regional level? What do participants think about it? Is this possible or is not possible? Please express your preference and opinion. You should have a window appearing in front of you with the two options, so yes or no. And based on this, we will eventually open the discussion on how a regional harmonization of soil test kits can occur. I will keep it open for a few more seconds. Okay, I'm ending it now and sharing the results with you. So the majority said yes, but others said no. So both these positions are interesting, because if you answer yes, then now we will look at how can we make it happen? What steps should we take as a community or as FAO to get to a regional harmonized soil test kits? If you answer no, we really want to know why you think that this is not possible. What are the challenges that we have to face? So to kick off the discussion today, we have three of the speakers that, presented today, because we have Ms. Shirley from Philippines, but also two speakers from yesterday. We have Ms. Ladiyani Widowati from Indonesia and Mr. Sanjay Srivastava from India. And this panel discussion will be moderated by Mr. Filippo Benedetti, the coordinator of the Global Soil Laboratory Network, and Mr. Pushajet Chaudhary, the chair of SILNET, so the Asian Soil Laboratory Network. So I'm now passing the floor to the moderator and to the panelists.
Thanks for that, Lucrezia. It is a pleasure to be back to the meeting today as well. and to moderate this very important session on the harmonization of the soil testing kits. Well, indeed, I will start by giving the floor to to Mrs. Shirley Boudouin, who just presented, and to kindly ask her, what do you think? Like, do you think that soil testing kits can be harmonized at the regional level? We saw that from the poll, most of the participants think that this is possible, but what is your thinking about that? What is your opinion about that? And if yes, if you think harmonization is possible at the regional level, how can we proceed to this? And if, or otherwise you think it is not possible, why soil testing kits cannot be harmonized? Can you please give us your opinion about that? Thanks.
Sir, harmonization is possible, but we need to consider a lot of factors. Different countries develop different methods for soil analysis, and we are to harmonize our soil test kits. So we need to consider also what will work best in terms of what methods should be adopted with lesser environmental and human hazards, the economic considerations, and the ease of use and portability.
Thank you. That's a question.
That's all. Thank you, sir.
Thanks. Thanks for your answer. Indeed, this was very clear. So maybe we, as I got you right, the first step is to think about which method to prioritize, no? And for which methodology. And indeed, it will be important to have like an harmonization throughout the different countries. Well, thanks for that. This noted. I will now ask the second participant of this panelist, Mrs. Ladiani, from Indonesia. What do you think? Because yesterday you presented the different soil kits even within Indonesia, the upper and the lower testing kits. So what do you think? Do you think that soil testing kits can be harmonized at the regional level? So again, if yes, how do you think we should proceed on that? Or if not, if you think this is not possible, why soil testing kits cannot be harmonized? Maybe you can provide some key steps or challenges for each of these steps. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Filippo. So, for the harmonization of a soil test kit, I think it's possible. The first, yeah, when I watch and I think, sorry, I lose the term. Yeah, for the test kit that's already presented by other country, more or less the method is almost similar. So the method like P, K, and P is almost similar. So for the analysis, I think it is not problem. The problem is how we apply to each of our country, because for example, Indonesia is different with the condition. I mean, the climate, the soil condition, also the crop pattern, and also the target yield, and so on. Yeah, that's for us to harmonize this is okay. It can be done, but each country have each different recommendation of how to apply, or it depends on the kind of crop they are grown. If it is rice, maize, soybean, or other crop like horticulture crop, like vegetable or fruits, and so on. So that's my opinion.
Thanks for that. This is well noted. Thanks for sharing your opinion about that, Mrs. Ladiani. Now for the next panelist member, I will like to pass the floor to Mr. Pushpajit Chaudhary, the chair of CILNET. He will continue the moderation for the next presenter. Thanks, Pushpajit.
Thanks, Filippo, for handing over. First of all, I would congratulate Dr. Sanjay for his brief presentation and would like to know how the soil testing kit, that is the Mrida Pariksha, what is his idea on how it can be harmonized at the regional level and what can be the challenges in it, and if so, we can throw more light on how then it can, if not, then how can we together work as a strategy to scale or harmonize the Mrida Pariksha. Over to you.
Thank you, Pushpajit. Good morning to everybody. Actually, I would not speak with a special reference to Mrida Pariksha only. I have made up certain points regarding the ways and means how these soil test kits can be harmonized. First of all, I think if you see different soil test kits, you will find there are three different principles on which these kits are working. One is colorimetric, that is in visible range. Most of the kits that we have seen yesterday and today also, they are working in visible range. They are developing some colors and then estimation is done. Second is the spectroscopic, and third is the electrochemical sensor based. That is not presented here, but there are some kits that are working. So my first thing is that we have to first screen out the kits that for which the working principle is same. That means if they are based on colorimetric, then all those colorimetric kits we should explore further. Second thing is, when we are estimating any nutrient, there are two things. One is the extraction, another is the estimation. Now, for those kits where the extraction procedure is similar, near similar, that can be rather easily harmonized. I give you an example. For example, let us say phosphorus. Phosphorus in India, we are estimating by Olsen reagent for alkaline soil and Bray-1 for acidic soil. Now, if some other kits are also using the same reagents for phosphorus extraction, then they can be easily oxidized. Yesterday, I saw a kit that is extracting by using Mahalich. Now, if you are using different extractants, it is very difficult to harmonize such kinds of kits because let us say in India, we have developed our soil test crop response relationship by using Olsen reagent and Bray reagent. Now, if we use some other reagent, it will give us quite different, totally different phosphorus readings. So, and those would not be applicable to our soils as far as fertilizer recommendation is concerned. So this is something very difficult, how to harmonize those kits for which the extraction procedure is different. Second thing, as far as the color comparison is concerned, most of the kits are using charts. Now, here a lot of scope is there for harmonization because I know that the chart output differs from machine to machine. For the same chart, if you take the printout from different 4 printers, let us say, you will get different chart colors. So here we can standardize that we can put certain standard operating procedures so that the charts look alike. Similarly, we have seen that how when you interpret the color by using your test tube or just beside the chart, then also there are certain conditions. Every soil test kit manufacturer will give that at what condition you should interpret the chart. Now, but those from kit to kit, those conditions would vary. They can be harmonized. Similarly, harmonization can be done in the shaking procedure, you know, because most of the time we are shaking by hand. So there also we can put certain conditions so that uniform shaking is done. Likewise, these things can be harmonized in this manner. And one more thing I want to say here, that for certain methods, for example, when we are estimating phosphorus or sulfur or boron, already even in traditional laboratories also, they are estimated colorimetrically. So these parameters, if any soil test kit is estimating more or less, they would be following with some modification the already established procedures. So they can be rather easily harmonized. So that is what I wanted to say in this as of now. Thank you.
Thank you for your brief on it. And basically, then we can discuss more. Now the floor is open for questions. And as he has recapped everything, the basic principle estimation can be one point where it can be harmonized. And also we have seen different kits which are using different principles, but those who are having like a similar estimation procedures or the underlying principles can be clubbed together. So the floor is open for questions now. You can drop down the questions.
We have a hand up from Sione Fogliacchi. I'm now giving you the opportunity to talk. Just give me a second. Yes, you should be able to talk now. Sion? Sion Fogliacchi, can you unmute yourself, please, and make your statement?
Sorry, I'm very
Yeah.
sorry. I'm wondering and I'm raising a question for the FAO. Is it possible for a body, technical body, to develop an international guidelines or international standards for harmonization of all soil test kits developed, produced by any institution, and also interpretation of results and verification also, and also to recognize what is scientific institution to do the verification. Is that possible? Thank you for the opportunities.
Filippo, I guess this is for you to sort out within Glossolon.
Yes, indeed. Let me share with you, Mr. Fogliacchi, what is going on in the Global Soil Laboratory Network, Glossolon. As I presented yesterday, the same challenge applies to the harmonization of standard operating procedures for soil laboratories. So what has been done so far in Glossolon is that the network member developed a procedure to harmonize the protocols. So there is a matrix that is developed. This is shared with all the laboratories, and information are collected and then harmonized within the region and then at the global level. And this matrix is basically an Excel file, which is then converted into a text, into a protocol. Well, for soil testing kits, we may proceed in the same way. So a guideline can be maybe developed to suggest how to proceed in this. Of course, there is the need, I guess, for an actor which moderate the work procedure. So it's important to decide here who is going to harmonize, who is going to be in charge of the harmonization of the soil testing kits, because we see there are so many already being used in the field, even within the same country. So it's important now there to clarify the steps which have been identified now by the panelists members, and the different challenges. Again, how to harmonize them for the different crops, how to harmonize them within the same, according to the reagents or the principle behind that. Well, this can be reported in the kind of guidelines. I think maybe within the Asian Soil Partnership or the Pacific Soil Partnership, this can be done. Can be guidelines that can be developed and to be available for countries and accession agents be used also by manufacturers. I mean, or how to compare soil testing kits using different principle, or possibly the same principle, but produced by different manufacturers. I think this is also something that we should take into account. I don't know if this answers your question, but I think it's a good point. And I mean, we are taking note of that, Sion. And I think the role of FAO may be indeed to provide guidelines on how to find a solution in the harmonization of the soil testing kits, because indeed this is an issue. There are so many, and comparability is key in this. So I don't know, Lucrezia, what do you think? But I think this can be maybe developed at a regional scale.
Yes, we can work on it.
Thanks. Also, I see there is another question in the chat from Anu Sudan about accuracy. Yeah, indeed, like accuracy of soil testing kits is also key. Yesterday, I tried to point out a bit the difference between soil testing kits and laboratories in terms of accuracy. Of course, for soil laboratories analysis, we can provide information on the precision and accuracy, because laboratories can participate to inter-laboratory comparisons, also called proficiency test or ring test. Laboratories can have internal quality control procedures, can run reference material, can calibrate the instrument easily in the laboratory if good practices are used. The point is that soil testing kits may not be supported by the same kind of information. But again, I think the purpose of the soil testing kits is different. So sometimes these are very useful when laboratories are very far, or reaching the laboratory is an issue. But indeed, if the goal of the on-field analysis is to study a bit what is the status of soils and provide fertilizer recommendation on rough numbers, soil testing kits can be valuable resources. So I think this is also is important to discuss about quality. I don't know if Pushpajet, you want to add something on this? I mean, both on the accuracy of soil testing kits and the on how to provide the guidelines to harmonize them at the regional level.
Yeah, like we are discussing, there can be the scope based on the principle across used, and then together we can collect the documents from different soil testing kits which are developed, and then try to harmonize. Later comes the step of harmonization. First thing, we have to club the principle oriented, whether, as mentioned by many of the colleagues, that whether it is on based on the principle of spectroscopy or some IoT sensors that has to, because one kit cannot be then again compared, or interoperability, we cannot intercompare them. So if which basic principles are same, first we can bring them together. And the second step definitely can be the extraction procedures, which is there. And then we go like how we are doing some kind of like a PT comes in at the next level. We have to do some kind of PT program, which we after once we collate the document. Yeah, so when that steps can be followed at the first go actually.
Thanks for that. Yeah, that's for the Pushpajet, well noted. And I see there is a comment from Dr. Ginanilo, and indeed about the use of the I mean, one important thing to consider when developing soil testing kits is reagents, as pointed out in the previous interventions. You know, some of these soil testing kits use colorimetric methods and reagents, so it's indeed important to consider the environmental cost for these kits. So when these reagents are disposed, and also the time for the measurement, and how these affect the results of the measurement. So I thank Gina for the commenting. It is important to set criteria, and if you're going to harmonize guidelines, so if you're going to develop guidelines on the harmonization of soil testing kits, will be important to consider indeed to include the section on the use of more environmental friendly reagents and chemicals for these kits. I don't know if there is any other questions there. Otherwise, Lucrezia, I think we can give the floor back to you.
Yeah, so can we summarize as reported on screen that the steps to get to a regionally harmonized soil test kits are the following. So first of all, we have to scope the kits that are available in the regions, so in the countries, and get the ones that work based on the same principle, like colorimetric, spectroscopy, or other. Then we need to select the methods and look also at the extraction procedure. Thereafter, we also have to harmonize the conditions for interpreting soil test kit results, and this brings back to charts, for example, in the case of soil test kits that work with based on colorimetric principle. And then we also have to set criteria on chemicals use, as mentioned by Dr. Giranilo and also by you now, Filippo. And maybe one thing that here is missing is, okay, when we have all of these, how do we get the countries to use the kits and locally produce it? It's like we are asking them to slightly modify the kits that they already have in the country, right? And I heard something on PT, maybe. Did I get it right? So we are going to run a PT on the soil test kits. Did I get it right?
Yeah, I think this was suggested by Pushpajit, right?
Yeah, only wherein the methods and others are similar kind of, there we can go for like a kind of maybe. Yeah.
And if I may, Lucrezia, I think also was mentioned by Sanjay that also the different steps should be included, like shaking the reagent and the samples together. So this also is part of the extraction, of course. But I mean, not only the reagents, but indeed each of the steps of the measurement should be considered. And also, I would like to point out to remark the contribution of Lidiani about maybe a suggestion of grouping method soil testing kits according to the crops. Because there is sometimes these are crop specific and can be interesting to group soil testing kits according to different crops, or I mean develop different suggestions according to the crop that are where these kits are applied. But of course, the challenge is that there are so many different crops indeed. Okay, I see. No, sorry. Just now notice that you mentioned it in the.
Yeah, indeed, I put it under challenges, but I'm
okay,
wondering,
sorry.
so the step for measurements, shall we have multiple steps of measurements depending on the climate, crop, soil type, and so? But then do we still refer to only one soil test kits, or we are harmonizing maybe multiple soil test kits working on different agroecological zones, like in Indonesia? Maybe we cannot get to a unique soil test kits. We have to have multiple ones.
Yeah, of course. Maybe instead of each crop, maybe agricultural zone will be a wider category where we can develop the kits. But I mean, will be a key step of the harmonization process we take into account. And I'm seeing the chat, Mohammad is saying, of course, user friendly. This is indeed a key prerequisite of the soil testing kits. So indeed, we should always keep the soil testing kits user friendly, because sometimes again these are used by farmers, by extension agents, should be very easy to use. So this is a characteristic of the kits that we should keep. And of course, there are other conditions of the field that should be considered. So yeah, I'm reading from Mohammad about the field conditions. Of course, if the level of moist, the moisture content of soils can be also affecting the measurement. And of course, this will be reported in the guidelines. So how to use the kits? I mean, if we should consider like wet or dry field. So and in these all like on-site conditions will be also included. So maybe yeah, it's better to report that as well, Lucrezia.
Yeah. Okay, what should I add? Sorry.
That maybe field conditions should be considered as well. Like for instance, if the soil is moist or is waterlogged or is dry. So sometimes, you know, field conditions should be taken into account for the reading.
Yeah, and there is actually a good comment in the chat that said that we should aim to develop something simple.
Yeah, indeed.
That's why maybe we develop multiple ones. We specify the agroecological zones and the crops and the field conditions that they are good for, and we promote their use. But each kit will be simple. It will not be a modification of. I mean, like it will not be only one kit that you have to play with to adapt it to the condition, because in that case the instructions, I think, will become quite heavy. Okay. Let's work on these suggestions under SealNet and Glossolan. And yeah, and again, I think it's important to encourage countries but also organizations and partners that develop soil test kits to get in touch and to share what they have, because only by sharing we can get to an harmonization. Okay. So thank you very much to all panelists and to the moderators for this panel discussion. This was the first panel discussion of today that directly brings us to the second one. In the second one, again, we have the pleasure to have some of the panelists that just contributed to the discussion now. So we still have Miss Shirley Buduan from Philippines and Mr. Sanjay Srivastava from India. But we have, in this case, Ms. Ahada Siregar from Indonesia. I hope she could make it today because yesterday she was replaced by Linka, but yes, I see her. Ms. Siregar, can you hear us?
Hello, Lucrezia.
Nice to have you with us today.
Sorry. Yes,
So,
thank you.
as I said, let's get into the topic of the second panel discussion that focus on the following. So can soil test kits replace soil laboratory analysis? And eventually, can we get a hint from the countries that already develop soil test kits on how can a good soil test kits be developed, and therefore maybe also some suggestion on maintenance and use? So let me start by asking Ms. Buduan from the Philippines for the following. How did your office get to develop the soil test kits that you presented about, and what steps shall a laboratory or a country take to develop a soil test kit?
Ma'am, for the development of soil test kit, we should focus on research. We need to identify what we need to quantify. And after this, we should be able to formulate reagents and methods that, as much as possible, will have lesser hazards for humans and the environment. We also need to identify the scope and limitations of the test kit to be developed. So the problems we encountered during the STK development, the Bureau of Soils and Water Management soil test kit technology was only transferred to us through Memorandum of Agreement. So we have only further improved our kits. So since we use visual comparisons or visual comparisons of resulting solutions, yes, we further enhance our color charts to minimize errors by performing method validations through the use of quality reference material, and also through comparison of results using soil test kit with the result using standard methods of analysis. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me bounce the question to Ms. Siregar. What about you? How did your office get to develop the soil test kits? And what steps should a laboratory or country take to develop a good soil test kit?
Okay, thank you, Lucrezia, for the time. So basically, the soil sensor that we are developing right now is still keep develop and validating because it using near infrared base, and basically these tools quite a little bit pricey. The price is quite expensive comparing the soil test kit that already presenting by Dr. Ladiani. But we in this case, we provide several options for the user. Either you can use using the calorimetry base or the near infrared base. And there is some limitation for our soil sample that we only can use for air dry soil samples, but we still updating and validating for the correction factor. And for the recommendation up to now, we only just provide for food crops for rice, soybean, and maize, but we are ongoing for the horticulture and plantation crops for the recommendation as the output of this soil sensor.
But how did you develop your kit? What steps did you take to develop it?
To develop, we develop with the doing validation from 1,000 samples and keep updating the equation and the suitable how to say a proper equation for that. And actually, the last 1 year we didn't do any updating due to the technical condition of the budget. So now we are start to improve it again.
Okay, thank you very much. Last but not least, the experience of India. So, Mr. Srivastava,
Yes.
what about you? I think you
Yes,
have some
actually,
slides to share, right?
yeah. Actually, previous two speakers have already covered, but let me just explain in my own words what we did when we were developing the soil test kit here. So, as yesterday also several speakers have several people have expressed their opinion that the basic objective of soil test kit is the fertilizer recommendation. And because fertilizer recommendation methodology in India or elsewhere also is already well developed, it is robust. So first, whatever method that we developed in our kit, they should be such so that they are correlated with the already established methods. So we started estimating soil for different parameters by using some methods, and we tried to correlate those methods with the results obtained by the laboratory procedures. That was the procedure adopted by us when we were developing soil test kit. Another thing, one point I want to add here is that because the soil test kit methods, procedures, even though they may look in some cases, they may be similar to what we are doing in laboratory, but even then there are minor variations as far as shaking and filtration, several other things are concerned. So we must also do the sensitivity analysis. That means if we are changing one particular method or procedure, then how much we are deviating from the original result or the standard operating procedures that we are using in the laboratory. So the sensitivity studied so that we know and we can tell to the users that where they have to be very cautious. So these are the things. Otherwise, all the points have been covered by the previous speakers.
I'm sorry, I missed you on a point because the connection was not so good. So you said like when we do the sensitivity analysis, we have to see how much the results is deviating. Yeah, is deviating from the results obtained in the lab, right?
Yes, sensitivity analysis. I was telling that means.
Hello. I fear we lost him. Yeah. I write it like this for the moment. Okay, thank you very much to the panelists for opening the discussion. Let me bounce the question now to the participants. What steps would you take when it comes to develop a soil test kits? Maybe you already developed a soil test kits, or you are in the process of developing one, or you would like to do it. What was your plan, or what is your plan about it? Can you please share? Otherwise, I would repeat actually what I wrote in the slide that capture the key elements in the STK development mentioned by the panelists. So key elements for developing a soil test kits are, of course, research, understanding what we want to quantify, identify methods and reagents. And please do this eventually, keeping an eye on the work that we will do on the regional harmonizing the soil test kits. We also have to identify the scope and limitations and adopt a series of measures to overcome issues through, for example, method validation, quality checks, update the equation in case your kit works, for example, with spectroscopy methods, do sensitivity analysis, but also much more. And remember that the soil test kit methods should be correlated to laboratory methods. I now have another couple of questions for the panelists. Again, I will start with Ms. Shirley from the Philippines. Do you have any trick and tips on soil test kit maintenance and use?
Do you have any tips and tricks to share?
But the maintenance and use of soil test kit should be included in the kit itself. In the BSWM soil test kit, we provide printed copies in the kit for the reference of the users.
Meron din tayong pick-up resolution.
Trainings and seminars should also be conducted to the target beneficiaries to inform
Sorry,
them of
can you repeat the last? Because there was someone speaking on top of you.
trainings and seminars should also be conducted to the target beneficiaries to inform them of the proper handling and storage of reagents. That's all. Thank you.
Good tips and tricks.
What about you, Ms. Siregar?
Yeah, okay. Actually, about the soil sensor, some of our stakeholder already interested to have this kind of sensor because it's quite easy, and mostly we share this information during the seminar, and also like we have an events like in World Soil Day every year. We do a stand for this soil test kit, but back against the problem we mostly for the how to say for like farmer levels, this kind of sensors quite a little bit high price, but for some big plantation they already interest, and we have some collaboration with some partners to improve this soil sensor based on their demand.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. I fear that we still don't have. Yeah, Sanjay, you're back. Okay,
Yes,
sorry,
yes.
we passed to the next question. That was tips and tricks on soil test kit maintenance and use. If you have anything, anything to
Only one thing I want to add, some free videos on the use of soil test kit, and one very important video is there, that is troubleshooting video. That is, with my experience, I have learned that because when your kit goes to market, when it goes to users, there would be many questions. So based on the user feedback, we must make a troubleshoot video that we should provide freely to either on YouTube or wherever, based on the feedback of the users. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
We can use social media also to promote. It's quite.
Right.
Yes, I think you are also addressing already the second question, that is like how to promote the use of soil test kits within the community, the local community, but also within the government. Yeah, so let me just let's answer them all in once. Okay.
Sorry,
Um,
Lucrecia, may I add?
Yes.
Okay. Related with tip and trick on SDK maintenance and use, we always include the questionnaire in each pack of SDK. So we get the response from the user. So we improve from their feedback. And the second is we give the phone number or email or related communication for after sales service. So for example, there is a problem during the use or during the decision of recommendation, we always give a time for them.
Mm-hmm.
Questionnaire. Also, we include the questionnaire in each set of
So the
SDK.
questionnaire, it's basically like about the use of the kit, right? You ask the users to complete the questionnaire to give you a feedback.
Yeah, like how is their perception about this test kit, and then how to use it is difficult or not, and then how about the productivity is increased or not, and also we ask for measurement from each nutrient, and which one is the easiest, and then which one is the difficulties.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we are asking what they are looking for with the next related with SDK. And we already get around 350 respondents from the farmer, and mostly from agricultural extension worker.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you. I see that there are some comments in the chat. Actually, I'm kindly asking Dr. Gina should be helping me with the moderation. Sorry, Dr. Gina, I didn't introduce you. I directly passed to the slides, but please feel free to intervene and help me get all inputs. I'm reading. I'm sorry. Just a second. Okay.
Sige, balik ka. Hindi ko malala classification.
Okay, they're also talking about not only phone number and email address, like a call center, but also the use of, for example, WhatsApp. And then okay, and there is just a comment on the price of the soil test kits that can be even 10 times the cost of one laboratory analysis. I think that these days we had the possibility to look at different soil test kits. Some were actually relatively expensive. Others, like the one developed by the Philippines, I think it's quite cheap, no? I think it was $27. I don't know how much, well, how much an analysis would be. Well, it's always country dependent, no? Each country has different costs and a different value for money. But I think that was the cheapest kit we saw these days. Okay. I think we got to good suggestions. Thank you very much. Again, I would like to thank all panelists and also all participants for their very active participation. And now we are actually right on time to start with the scenario-based game that linked to also some comments that you shared yesterday on plant analysis. Sorry, I'm just reading another comment. Okay, I will answer that later. Let me open the next presentation that actually introduced the game. And this is really like a real case scenario. It's something I'm starting to work at these days in the region. And I'm really looking forward to get your ideas on how we can improve FAO works on the topic. So the scenario is the following. Let me make the screen bigger so you can read properly. Okay, I hope you can see. The situation is the following. So FAO would like to assess the impacts of different sustainable soil management practices in different agroecological zones in Asia with a focus on cash crops. Why this? Because we think that this would allow us to select the right practice to implement under specific circumstances and sites, and this will help greatly the project formulation and implementation phase. So the impacts that we are looking at relate, of course, to soil, so soil health. We are looking at soil fertility, climate change mitigation potential, soil compaction, soil biodiversity. Then we also would like to look into soil pollution and soil erosion and flood control, but these maybe require a bit more work that goes and looks outside the laboratory, so let's see. And thereafter, we will also assess the impacts of these different sustainable soil management practices on crop yields. So we refer to the quantity of the yield, but also at the nutrient value of the crops. So in leaves, in grains, and in fruits. And we would also like to link all of this to water quantity, so groundwater recharge, for example, and water quality. But again, it's under discussion. It depends on the availability of data on the topic. Now, the question is the following. What parameters, now let's look at soil first, what parameters, so chemical, physical, and biological parameters, shall we consider, keeping into consideration that there will be financial and technical constraints to face, like we cannot analyze all soil parameters we want, also because the countries maybe do not have access to the data, have technical constraints in conducting more advanced analysis, let's say, and also the more challenging the request, the most challenging we make the request, the less likely we will receive spontaneous contributions. So at present, the main soil chemical parameters that we are considering are the following. So soil pH, electrical conductivity, soil organic carbon, organic matter, available phosphorus, available potassium, total nitrogen, and then extractable calcium, magnesium, sulfur, and cation exchange capacity. And also, as I said, we would like also to look at the impact of the practices on soil pollution reduction or control. So maybe we can do some heavy metals and hydrocarbons analysis if the country has a capacity to conduct these analyses that anyway are a bit expensive. And then on the other side of the screen, you see the soil physical parameters that we are considering, that are soil texture, structure, bulk density, soil moisture, and soil temperature. In terms of biological parameters, we are considering working on soil respiration rate, microbial biomass, enzyme activity, soil mesofauna, and nematodes. Now, what do you think? What do you think about these analyses? Are they comprehensive? Are they too much? Is it too much to ask to countries or partners? For example, if I send you an email and ask you, okay, would you like to participate to this work? Because actually that's the question that I will also like to ask you at the end of today. Would you like to contribute to this work? Do you have projects or study sites that have data that can help us assessing the impacts of different sustainable soil management practices in different agroecological zones? Can you comply with these requests, or it's too much to ask? Or maybe we should ask you more. I get out of the presentation mode so I can I can type in your suggestions. What do you think? Maybe again, I don't want to abuse of the panelists, but maybe they can help breaking the ice.
Sorry, Lucrecia. Do you mean related with the parameter? All of parameter that you are looking for is that we will develop a test kit, or just comparing the analysis between among country related with this parameter?
So basically, this is our objective, no? To assess the impact of the different practices on these aspects of soil health. So for doing this, we identify these parameters that can be used to get to conclusions on the impacts of the practice on these aspects of soil health. For doing this, we are considering both the use of soil laboratories, but also the use of soil test kits. So it's both.
If related, okay. How about for the soil chemical parameter? The cation exchange. It's already potassium, magnesium, sodium, and I think sodium can be added too, because related with the soil quality and also soil pollution.
So sodium.
Yes, because when we are measuring the extractable calcium, magnesium, we also together measure for sodium and potassium too, using ammonium acetate method.
Perfect, thank you. I see a hands up also from the Philippines, please.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Lucrecia. I think the earlier question is whether do we need all the parameters? Is that right? I think this is too much. First of all, not all of the parameters are available in our laboratory. So with regards to pollution, heavy metals, and hydrocarbons, and for the soil biological parameters, we are into soil respiration rate, microbial biomass, but enzyme activity, and all others are not yet. Then for the chemical parameters, I think we can settle on some of the basic parameters that spells soil health. And of course, for all other elements that may not be included, we can, pH is a very good indicator of the availability of all other elements. However, there is also a good calcium and magnesium ratio can also be a good indicator as to the availability of other elements. But we can do away with these two elements if we have a good idea about the parent material as well as the pH as an indicator of the availability of these elements. So that's it.
So I'm sorry, for chemical parameters, you recommend to go for soil pH, then calcium, magnesium, and NPK?
NPK, yes.
And carbon, right?
Because, for example, electrical conductivity is only relevant if you have saline soil. So if we are familiar with the parent material or the type of soil that we have, we can do away with other analysis. So electrical conductivity, yes, maybe on selected site. But basically, we can do with soil pH, soil organic matter, phosphorus, potassium, and nitrogen. Calcium, magnesium ratio, yes. because this can also relate with the availability of all other elements. But just the same, if will this add to the cost and time, we can do away with calcium and magnesium. pH can be an indicator as to the availability of the secondary elements, calcium, magnesium, and sulfur.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Because indeed, as I mentioned at the beginning, we have to keep into consideration financial and technical constraints. We are trying to implement some pilots in some countries, and I can tell you that if we go for all these analyses, the cost is very high, depending on the study site. I see in the chat they're also suggesting to look for available nitrogen, and they are stressing the importance of EC, electrical conductivity, as a basic parameter. I think that all labs should do electrical conductivity, right?
Pagsaling.
So maybe like this. Okay. Soil permeability. Yeah, initially one thing we were considering was also the infiltration rate, but the cost was very high of the analysis. That's why we removed it. And boron, hot water boron. Yeah, but the question is what laboratories can perform hot water boron analysis? I don't think there are many labs. If we want to bring this work at a regional level. And what about pollution? Pollution is also something like here we brought about heavy metals and hydrocarbons, but I'm asking you, if you work for a laboratory, do you do this type of analysis? So analysis on pollution, heavy metals, hydrocarbons, for example.
For heavy metal, yes.
Heavy metals, yes. Okay. Indonesia, right?
Yes.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah,
Thank
heavy
you.
metals we are also doing. In India also we are doing heavy metals.
And how is it? Very expensive?
Yeah, we are using the same either ICP or already that equipments are there. On the same, we are using heavy metals also. We are working, analyzing. It is expensive, of course.
Yeah, because that was my concern. Like, we are thinking to set up a platform to collect all this data that will be, let's say, open, now also to to data on soil pollution. But we are wondering how many people will actually contribute to this, because the analysis is expensive, and not many labs, as far as we saw in Glossoland, do this type of analysis. I see, I'm looking at the chat. There is a request to comment on hot water versus acidified water extraction of boron. I don't know who can take this, maybe from Silnet or Glossoland. Otherwise, my suggestion is that maybe Mr. Abdul Jabbar, you get in touch with Silnet. The Silnet meeting will happen very soon. They will talk about the standard operating procedure, and they will have specific discussions on the question, on this type of question that you asked. And they already started to work on boron.
If I may, Lucrezia, the SOP for boron is about to be published.
Yeah, I recall that.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's by hot water, right?
Yeah. Hamburger's method, yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Filippo. Then soil testing kit use is aimed at to get instant fertilizer recommendations. Indeed, like soil test kits, we cannot use them for getting some of these data. But there are actually other kits and methods that were not discussed in this webinar, will be presented in another one. that will be very interesting, and we are exploring to using them also for assessing soil biological parameters. They seems very feasible and cheap. So stay tuned on the upcoming webinars, because unfortunately we cannot present everything in once, but at least we kick off the discussion. So thank you very much for these inputs on the parameters. We will really keep them into consideration as we are finalizing the concept note and prepare everything for allowing all countries and partners to contribute, because this work will really serve the region. Of course, we will keep the confidentiality. The data will remain under your ownership, and everything will be better explained in the concept note and related document. So other questions that I have related to this work that will really help us to set it up is, well, first of all, can soil test kits be used to lower the cost of the analysis and speed up the delivery of results?
Yes.
So I think we already have a partial answer to this in the chat. So maybe only for soil parameter related to soil fertility, right? Okay, so but for example, we cannot use them for pollutants, and maybe not even for soil biological parameters. That's a bit more complicated, at least to quantify it with numbers. And then my other question is, in your opinion, for how long should monitoring activities, so analysis, be performed? We would like to assess the impacts of the different sustainable soil management practices in the short, medium, and long term. So at present, we are considering the following timelines, let's say. So for short-term impacts, we consider 1 to 2 years. For medium-term impacts, 3 to 5 years. And for long-term impacts, 5+ years. What do you think? Is it okay, or should we change it?
Sorry, Lucretia?
Yeah, the question is what you see on screen. For how long should monitoring activities
Yeah.
be performed?
In case of Indonesia, for using of this kit, we always recommend, for example, if the lowland is very intensive, for example, tree planting season per year, so we recommend to measure every 2 years. But if less than the index planting is lower than 1.5, so it can be measured every 3 to 5 years. So different on the index planting.
Okay.
Intensive or not intensive?
And you consider it as short term?
Yeah, for the intensive area, so it's a short term. But for the area, the land which is planting less than 1.5 index plantings per year, so categorized as medium.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Any other input? There is a comment on short-term impacts amid changing agroecological conditions. I don't understand it well. Can you please better explain it? I can give you the right to talk if you like, Mr. Muhammad Irshad. Would you like to take the floor? Because I'm managing it alone, so I'm writing and then checking at everything else at the same time. Sorry. So Mr. Muhammad, if you want to better explain it, if not, maybe you can also send me your inputs by email. I would like just to answer a question that is was asked from the Pacific. That relates to maybe having this work also for the Pacific region. Indeed, I tried to better explain it to the focal points, to the GSP in the Pacific, but what we are doing here now for Asia, it's something that I would also like to do specifically for the Pacific. And also this type of exercise on the impacts of different sustainable soil management practices in different agroecological zones is something that I think it's also relevant for the Pacific region, and I would like to bring it forward, maybe in a separate discussion, or maybe let's see how to integrate it. So we have an Asia Pacific platform compiling all this information. But definitely, I'm not forgetting about the Pacific, because the regional office for Asia and the Pacific also cover the Pacific. It's just a point of coordinating the efforts within the Pacific region in this case. I have some other comments here in the chat. pH, CC, organic and organic carbon should be monitored in the short term. Actually, this is a good note, because maybe we can recommend the monitoring of different, we can assign different timelines to the monitoring of different parameters, depending on how quickly they change. So let me add a note on this. So thank you very much.
Audible?
I just copy paste it and then I will better elaborate it later on. Okay, and then the last question is how to ensure the long-term sustainability of this activity. For example, one thing we are exploring is to connect it to ongoing projects and initiatives by the government, for example, that are the ones that usually ensure the best sustainability now in the long run, because maybe more funds are available or secured. What do you think? Do you have any suggestion? Because since we are talking about monitoring, these require, let's say, periodic analysis. So we need to ensure that we develop a work that is sustainable. Do you have any other suggestion? Okay, I'm receiving other suggestions here, indeed, in the chat. To connect it to National Soil Health Program, yes, this is something that FAO is already started to work in 2023, as the Global Soil Partnership of the FAO is developing an index, a soil health index and related indicators. However, these products are not available yet. Likely they will become available in 2024. But even as an anticipation to the release of those tools, we would like in the region to start developing a regional soil health monitoring system and work with countries to develop their national soil health monitoring systems already starting in early 2024. So it's a very good suggestion. Thanks, Dr. Gina, because it connects to our work plan for next year. System. Yes, so I have program. Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Then just for your information, as I said in here, well, today we focused on soil because the topic is soil analysis. But in these sort of platforms or systems that we are planning to develop, we will also look at the nutrient value of crops in terms of nutrients in leaves, grains, and fruit. And we will combine it with data from soil. So what we are looking at present are macro and micronutrients in leaves, grains, and fruits. I see a hands up. Dr. Gina, please. I hope you can talk.
Thank you, Dr. Lucrecia. So actually, I earlier raised my hand. It's not only the National Soil Health Monitoring System, but it's actually the National Soil Health Monitoring Program. The monitoring system is part of the program, but also included is the strengthening of the laboratories, as well as the implementation of sustainable soil management. So that constitutes the National Soil Health Program. So monitoring is part of it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, sorry, I translated it into National Soil Health Monitoring System. I don't know actually how many countries have a National Soil Health Program as you have in the Philippines. FAO is currently supporting some countries in developing and improving their national soil strategies. And we would really like to advise any countries that has an interest in it on the topic, so that we can also get to a regional harmonization in terms of policies on soil. But indeed, the Philippines is a champion on the topic, and we are always eager to learn from you. So thanks for sharing. I have another suggestion, is the validation by government agencies that may help to achieve long-term sustainability of soil test kits. Yeah, and I think this relates to the previous discussion, the previous panel discussion. Where is it? Sorry, it's in the other screen. Okay, I will add it to these other conclusions. Okay, I see another hands up. Just a second, I allow you to talk. It disappeared. Okay, sorry. Okay. Thank you very much. I think it was extremely useful. We will keep you informed on progresses on both these works. So the harmonization of the soil test kits at the regional level, but also this work on the impacts of different sustainable soil management practices. Now we are heading towards the end of our webinar. And since we said that these webinars still wanted to break preconceptions on soil analysis, we have some other polls for you to see if you eventually changed your opinion on the topic. Sorry, I see a hands up. Dr. Golabi, I'm allowing you to talk, please.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I had a question before the session ends about the soil sampling. I know we heard a lot about the soil testing and soil kits, but are you planning to have a discussion on soil sampling itself? Because I have realized that, as a matter of fact, I had conducted a couple of workshops this year on soil sampling before the farmers, because a lot of times the soil sample that they bring to the lab or they want to use the kit is not really representative of what that soil is gonna behave, or that soil that they're gonna use for cropping. A lot of times the farmers do not know how to sample the soil. And many times the result of the test is very much off because of the way that they sample. So is there going to be a discussion on soil sampling itself? Because I think that's the most important part, before the testing.
Mhm. Thank you very much. I know that Filippo is on his way to the office because he's based in Rome, so the time difference implies that he is traveling at this time. But this is actually a good point for Glossolan. When I was in Glossolan, I can tell you that we started to work on the topic. So not only soil sampling, but also soil sampling, so collection of the samples, transportation, and storage. And we were looking at developing it, looking at the type of analysis we wanted to perform, like chemical, physical, biological analysis, and also there are different types now of analysis that require maybe specific sampling and storage conditions. So I don't know if Filippo can talk and he can give us an update on where Glossolan is on this work, but I think we can take it back. Actually, I didn't plan to have a webinar on the topic because I didn't receive enough contributions on the topic in the Knowledge Hub for the region. But I think we can develop something on these or like move forward on these under Glossolan and SealNet. So maybe we can get to the publication of those documents that are in the pipeline on the topic.
Okay, yeah. Thank you.
To you, thanks. It was a very good comment because the collection of the sample is very important. Otherwise, we will not get to reliable data. And Pushajet, I don't know also if you would like to comment on it as a chair of SealNet. I think we lost, no, yeah, he's here, but I think he has some problem. Okay, no problem. But thank you very much, Dr. Golabi. Well noted, and we will take some action. We will discuss on the best way to proceed on this. Thank you very much. Now, as I told you, I would like to see if you eventually changed your mind on what you stated yesterday, no? When this webinar started. And for doing this, we have some poll. Now, let me launch the second poll of the day. We have 3 questions for you. The question for now is the following. Did this webinar change your perception on soil laboratories and soil tests? You saw a lot of presentations of what I think are very well-developed kits developed by soil laboratories and by government laboratories. Let's see, I'm very curious to see the results of this question. Please hurry to vote. I will close the poll in a few seconds. So did we manage to change your perceptions, or maybe we just consolidated your good opinion on the topic? Okay, I'm closing it now. So the majority said yes, we changed the perception. Very good. Let's see about the next question. The next question is the following. If you have it already, would you consider collaborating with other countries to harmonize existing soil test kits? No, as we said, like, do you have a soil test kits, and would you eventually like to contribute to or join the work on the regional harmonization of the kits? So if you have the kit, please, you can either drop a message here in the chat to let me know who you are and the fact that you have a kit, or you can also send me an email. I think you all have my email address, so please feel free to send me emails and we will follow up through bilateral conversations. Okay, I'm about to close the poll. Okay, I'm ending it. Majority said yes, so thank you very much. We are looking forward to engage with you for the regional harmonization of the kits that you already have. Last question. If you don't have it already, would you engage in the development of a soil test kit? Possible answers are the following: yes, but you need of financial support. Yes, but you need of technical support. Yes, but you need of both technical and financial support. Or no, because you don't think that the soil test kits should be developed by you, but it should be an effort by the government. So we are talking about the development of national soil test kits. Or otherwise, no, you are not interested in soil test kits at all. Also, we have an option that says, no, you prefer to buy commercial kits or kits developed by other countries. Note that if you put your cursor on the top of the answers that you might see cut, you will have the full reading of them. Again, please feel free to write your name and email address in the chat, or even better, to send me an email. And I will liaise with Glossolan and Sealnet so that we will support you and engage in the process. I'm about to close the poll. And to share the results with you. So most of respondents said that yes, they would like to engage in the development of soil test kits, but they need of both financial and technical support. And we also have some majority, actually equal number of answers saying that, well, they either need of only financial support, or they think that this work needs to be bring forward by the government so that we develop a national soil test kits. Thank you very much. Actually, we are closing the webinar a few minutes before the end, which is surprising but good, because usually we are always late. I would like to ask any of you, before we proceed with the closure, if you have any final remarks or suggestion to make, anything that was not said during this webinar. Or as Dr. Golabi, well, since you already kicked this off, do you have any suggestion on topics that maybe you want us to organize a webinar on? Anything that you perceive as needed? So soil sampling, noted. The need to work with the Pacific, noted. What else? I see some hands up. Dr. Muhammad Abbas Azid, I'm giving you the right to talk. Please unmute yourself. Dr. Aziz? Okay, no problem. So with this, I would like to close the webinar. Again, I would like to thank you all for your active participation. I really hope that that you enjoyed and you found the discussion interesting and that did added to your background and knowledge. I would also like to thank all speakers and all moderators, all panelists for their very good interventions and for making this webinar rich and interesting. Again, please do not hesitate to contact us in case of question or need. You can send an email to me and I will put you in touch with the speakers that might support you the most. And again, I would like to remind you that all presentations will be shared by emails as well as the video recording. So all those that register to the webinar will have access to the video recording. And once again, I thank you all, and I wish you a very good rest of the day. And I look forward to see you at the next webinar that will actually be on carbon credits in 2 weeks. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lucrecia,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you for
Thank
everyone.
you.